Oh, wait. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live and Instagram Live broadcast from our Ohio Street boat launch project. We're standing here at the corner of Ohio Street and South Street, right in front of the New York State DEC Ohio Street boat launch. This is one of our projects that Waterkeeper is undertaking as part of our Buffalo Blueway effort to bring more public access sites to the Buffalo River and, the outer harbor and some of our other waterways as well. So we're going to take you behind the scenes. Because I have the hard hat on, I'm allowed to cross the orange fence. But first, we're going to take a look at the sign that we had made up that describes all of the different components we have to this project. Then we'll walk you around. If anyone has any questions while we're walking around, please feel free to type it in the chat, and we'll answer it as we go. So as you'll see on the project sign, and as we take a look around, we really wanted to make sure that this small site accommodated as many people as we could. So from paddlers to fishers and just people who want to take a break and sit down by the river. We have a beautiful sunset happening almost here tonight. It's a gorgeous area, and if you look around, there is tons of traffic, and the people around this community are always at this park. Feel bad about shutting it down for a few months, but once it's up and running, it's going to be absolutely incredible. There's the famous Ohio Street lift bridge going up and down. One of the big ships came in today to unload. We missed that by about 2 hours, but eventually the site you'll be able to sit right on the dock and watch those boats come up and down the river. All right, ladies, if we want to go in, I'll let you into the private orange fence area. By that I mean we're just going to step right over this construction snow fence. Please watch your step as you are filming.
Thank you kindly.
So right here it might not look like much, but this parking area used to be just a asphalt pavement, and we're going to make it slightly larger. It's going to accommodate around 15-20 cars with some handicap parking. We thought about making the parking area bigger, but in order to do that, we really would have lost some of the other features along the site. So this area is going to be really great. It's going to be slightly over, and if you look straight ahead where, the dirt patch is now, that's going to be a turnaround. So it's going to be, almost a circle where you can drive along, pull over, park your car, take your kayak out, get it all situated, and then go and park. That we planted a few years back as part of a different funding effort. We really wanted to diversify populations within this corridor, so it really attracts monarchs, other butterflies, insects, all of the pollinators. So we're being very careful to, not disturb that right now. That whole area is going to be left as is, and it'll be a great place for people just to see nature here along this really busy urban corridor. All right, now we're gonna walk through what is at some point gonna be a parking area. Oh yeah, timeline, I guess we can talk about that now. So we started this project about a month ago, and we hope to have it open by August, by the end of August most likely. So unfortunately we're gonna lose a lot of the summer this year, but kind of just the way it works with construction. The Buffalo construction season really doesn't kick off until April or May. So those boxes you see up in the air behind the excavator, those are bat boxes that we installed as part of that other project as well. So in addition to bringing in the pollinators, we really wanted to promote bats roosting along there. If we'll scoot around past the kiosk. Like I said, this is a New York State DEC owned and operated site. So it's primarily funded by funds through their fisheries department. So this really, DEC and all the designers and Waterkeeper, we really wanted to make sure that this park stayed, available for fishing access as well. It's a huge kayak launch spot, but initially it was built for fishermen in mind, and we're going to show you just shortly what we're doing to increase fishing access here at the site. So before, this whole shoreline was just boulders, some of the scruffy stuff that you're basically saying this is all pulled out of the shoreline. Not really hospitable, I guess you could say, for people to fish, and it kind of looked pretty bad. So what we're doing is we're putting in a 80 foot fishing pier. It's almost cantilevered over the water. It gives the illusion that you're out over the water, but it's actually tied back into the shoreline. So if you want to take a look, it's a pretty impressive picture. And it's all ADA accessible. There'll be railings, not only to use it for fishing, it's just going to be a great place to view. These rowers that you see in the water right in front of us, they're from the Classic Rowing Association next door, and they're out in this water every day. So this is just the form that they're setting up. They laid down one layer of concrete already in there, and they're building it up for the second layer, which they'll be pouring within the next few days. Well, like I said, it's about 80 feet long, and it will tie back into the rest of the pathways. So it'll give you a nice continuous path that you can walk throughout the entire park area. I just love looking at all these people on the Buffalo River. I mean, I started this job about 15 years ago. We'd come out here and you'd see no one. Absolutely no one. Nobody had any intention of coming to the river, wanting to be in the river, and now we have all of this activity. Not only the Classic Rowing Association next door, but in the summer this river is full, packed full of kayaks. In the distance you can see Riverworks, the Michigan Street Lift Bridge, Key Bank Center. Everything is just a beautiful sight. I can't wait till we have this all set up and we can just come out here and enjoy this beautiful vista that we have with the Buffalo River. So we'll go a little bit further. And for those of you who may have frequented this park in the past, you might notice that we had to take some trees down. And, that was hard on everyone. That was not a decision anyone took lightly. Waterkeeper worked with our designers, the property owner, the forester, to really determine if those trees could stay, if they were safe. And unfortunately, they had so much damage from beaver and just their age that they were dropping limbs, they were hollowed out. Their health was so bad that they really were a safety to the public. So we did take those down, and if anyone watched our last Facebook Live, we were able to take those trees compost at a local facility, and from there we donated that to another local nonprofit. So here we are at the only semi-complete element of the project, which is the actual boat launch. So this boat launch is not for car trailer launches. We don't want anyone to be driving into this. There's a very steep drop off and you will lose your boat and probably your truck. So what this is intended for on the left hand side is the dolly launch. So if you have your kayaks or your paddle boards and you have a dolly launch, you can use that. On the right hand side, which looks like a kayak slide, which we don't recommend you sliding down that. It's just you helping your kayak back up afterwards. So in order to put this launch in, we had to install this cofferdam. So the sheet pile went up, it was driven into the bedrock, and it was all dewatered. There was a giant pump pumping the water back out into the river. So this whole area was dry. If you see that W, that's the extent of where the concrete runs to. So it's a pretty long concrete ramp. And the Buffalo River does go up. I mean, within a day it can go up and down 3 feet or so and blow in every which direction. So they were able to pump all that water out because that sheet pile makes it watertight. It's a cofferdam. They pumped all the water out, were able to pour the concrete in place, put these boulders in, and we did a nice raked finish on here so that it prevents some of the slipping. And if anyone has ever tried launching from the Ohio Street Boat Launch in the past, one of the main issues is debris. The Buffalo River has a lot of natural debris, tree limbs, just flotsam that comes down the river. And like I said, Buffalo River flows in both directions. So if we have any type of storm, the spring breakup, anything, this river, fills this entire area in with debris. So how do we combat that? Because we want to make sure people can get out here and do that. So our next step after we take this cofferdam out is we're going to put floating debris deflectors out in the water. They're floating boom logs that'll be able to rise up and down with the water levels and keep the debris from coming in. We'll never be able to keep all the debris out, but it'll really definitely help. Any given night, just coming out here and just being able to sit and watch this in the summertime is going to be amazing. So this was all recently installed too. This is a shoreline stabilization method. We used more of a cobble type stone to give it more of a natural look instead of the large riprap that you normally see, that white like 3-5 big break walls. So we were able to use this as well. This is all still going to create some fish habitat because we put them into the water as well. The yellow thing you see floating out there and the white thing, that's a silt curtain. So for any project that you do along any sort of waterway, you really want to make sure that sediment from the site doesn't get washed into the river. So this is a floating on top and then a curtain that drops all the way to the bottom, and it keeps all the sediment in. So that's up for the duration of construction, then we'll pull it out later. Right now the site kind of looks barren. When we're done and all the elements are installed, Waterkeeper is always promoting the installation of native or naturalized vegetation. So we'll make sure that all the trees and shrubs that we put back in here provide that. Another cool feature about this site is that during the heyday of the Buffalo River, there actually used to be a rail line that ran through this property. And if you go on the other side of Ohio Street, you can actually see the remnants of it. But if you look at old aerial photos, it's visible as well. So our designer came up with this great plan to tie in the pathway with the historic rail line. So we're doing a stamped concrete look, which looks like a railroad. So it's got the ties and the, I don't know, the rails and all of that, and you have these beautiful arches. It's just gonna be such a lovely place to be within the next couple months. So, starts and stops, but this project is coming along better than I ever could have imagined. All right, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat bar and we can answer those questions for you. You want to see a different spot? We can go there as well. So in addition to these sites, this site for Buffalo Blueway, we're also currently in the middle of designing one for Seneca Bluffs. We just had a public meeting a couple days ago to show our preliminary plans. If you weren't able to join us, feel free to go to buffaloblueway.org and you can watch that presentation. It's a beautiful site as well. That one's more natural looking, but we are looking to put a fishing pier similar to this there as well and make a natural play area, and it's going to be a beautiful site. We also have a Blueway site at Riverworks down there, and that one is fully ADA accessible. So if you're not able to walk your kayak in, or you have problems launching, or if you're in a wheelchair, there is an opportunity for you to go to Riverworks and launch yourself into the kayak as well. There is a bench and rollers that you can use to move yourself through the winter. I'm thinking probably within the next month or so, all the kayak ramps along the Buffalo River will be open. So the Buffalo Blueway effort that we were able to do all these public access sites came through Governor Cuomo's Buffalo Billion 2, and Waterkeeper was allotted funding to create public access sites up and down the Buffalo River and out into the Outer Harbor, and Buffalo Blueway beyond, of course, because Waterkeeper never just does one project. So we're always looking into the future. But this is really to encourage public access on our waterways. The Buffalo River has been restored. We took out 1 million cubic yards of contaminated sediment. There's development up and down this corridor now. There's restaurants. There's 2 beautiful condominiums. And, everything is booming, and we really want to make sure that people know and feel comfortable to come down here and experience what we all have known for so long. The Buffalo River is a great place, and that Buffalo is a waterfront town, and so many people are disconnected to the waterways, and we want to make sure that people can get here from everywhere. So we want to make sure that that access is provided to our local communities and to bring people in as visitors as well.
So Catherine, we have a couple comments and questions from our viewers, which is awesome. So the first question is, how many vehicles will be able to park in the parking lot?
So I believe right now that there's approximately 15 parking spaces plus 2 handicap designated ones at this point.
Great. And can you talk a little bit about the wildlife that you've been seeing?
The wildlife on this site has been pretty impressive. So I would say over the winter, there was one very, okay, we're going to go there, eager beaver who really took the opportunity of the nice warm weather this winter to take down approximately 5 trees along the shoreline. So when we started doing construction here, he, maybe she, not really sure, didn't get that close, but wasn't very happy about that. But I'm sure he's moved on from now. But he was taking even like our debris piles. He was going into our debris piles and stealing all the little logs for himself. So yeah, here it's a little rough. You don't really see any deer or anything. That's where like Red Jacket and Seneca Bluffs, where we're also doing projects. This one's a little bit tamer in terms of wildlife, but waterfowl constantly in this river, and people are always fishing it out here, so it's a great one. Well, thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in there. We will be saving this and keeping it on the website at buffaloblueway.org. Jess and Sarah, thank you very much for filming me as I walked around this lovely site. And Jean's in the background too. So I think Jess and Sarah are going to take a couple more quick pics as we walk back through. So if anyone has a few more questions, feel free to add them. Reminder about Waterkeeper weekend, which is running May 21st through the 23rd. That's really our kickoff to the water season here in Buffalo. You can visit our website for more details about what we have planned for that weekend. We also have some additional shoreline sweeps coming up if you feel the need to get out on the river and help us pick up some trash. There's information about that on the website too, but the ones they're coming up in June, so you should be able to find some great time to do that. And then just one last view of our plan sets. As you can see here, that's our fishing pier. That's our boat launch that we just looked at. These are the debris deflectors we were talking about. And this whole thing is going to be that recreated rail line corridor. Lots of nice green space and trees as well. So we have all that green space. We really want to make sure that we still have the pollinators involved coming to the site. Some shade trees. Nobody really likes sitting out in the blazing sun of the Buffalo River. Just want to do a quick shout out to our construction crew, Scott Lanyard, for helping us with this project and keeping it so nice and tidy. Probably the cleanest construction site I've been on recently. Also, our designers of this project were Anchor QEA, Edgewater, and Watts, right here out of Buffalo. All right, we're back at the orange construction fence, and I'm going to have to herd these ladies back out. But once again, we thank you for joining us, and please feel free to reach out to myself or Jean, or just message us on any of our social media platforms. We'll get back to you with any answers to any of your questions. Bye, everyone.